Hi, welcome to today's STATA module for the Research Support Center at the Family Home and Social Sciences College at Brigham Young University. Today we are going to be going through labeling variables, labeling values, and automatically creating new variables with labeled values from a recode command. We're going to be using a do file today as we use syntactical code for our commands rather than the drop-down menus available in STATA. This allows us to reproduce our code immediately and also to copy and paste it to other projects that we may work on in the future. Again, we will be using a do file, so let's go ahead and open one up here with the new do file tab. Once we have our do file open, let's go ahead and create a descriptive title for it. And simply in our case, I'm going to say this file is a demonstration of labeling variables, values, and creating new variables with value labels from a recode command. I always like to leave a place for notes for myself if at any time I like to have topical notes, and then end our comment with the */. As always, let's begin our do file with a clear all command. This simply tells STATA that we are going to clear out any previous data sets if we've been working on other projects or other macros that we have created in STATA. For today's demonstration, we will be using a data set from the Research Support Center's website. To access that, we will type in use and then the address of the dataset, which is http://fhss-web4.byu.edu:/valuelabels.dta. Again, that is use http://fhss-web4.byu.edu:/valuelabels.dta. Let's go ahead and bring that dataset into STATA to verify that we have the correct dataset. As you can see, the command ran just fine, and we have our variables over here on the right. Let's visually inspect our data here, and let's look at the first 10 observations. I'm going to specify the no-obs option of our list command, which simply suppresses the observation number in the table. As you can see here, we have a make, which is the Mercedes, Chevrolet, Toyota, Subaru, AMC, and so on. You also have a price, a miles per gallon, and a variable here indicating whether or not the vehicle was manufactured in a foreign community or in a domestic community. So let's go ahead and start by labeling a variable. You can see here in the variable window that we have variable names, but none of our variables have labels to them. In order to do that, we invoke the label command. Let's go ahead and type this in our do file here on the left. And then we tell STATA what we want to label. We want to label a variable. What variable do we want to label? Well, let's go ahead and label the foreign variable. And then we begin our label by using a double quote, which in STATA indicates that we will be using text or that STATA should ignore spaces as an end of a command. So let's go ahead and type in an appropriate name, made in USA or foreign. Seems pretty straightforward. Let's go ahead and run that command. I'm going to use a shortcut for the run command in STATA, which is Control-D. You can press the button up here. I already ran it using the shortcut, and as you can see, it was successful. And now, in our variables window, we can see that the variable foreign here on the left has a label here on the right, which is exactly what we said, made in the USA or foreign. Now, let's actually use the codebook command and look at all of our variables in our data set. We can click the More here to let us scroll down to the end of the command, and you can see that foreign, here's the name of the variable, has a label of made in USA or foreign. You can see other specifics about the variable, But to show you a difference, you can see the variable miles per gallon is currently unlabeled, also indicated here in the right variable window. Now, we often have dummy variables, such as foreign, that we would like to label and have them appear with values labeled for us. So when we browse our data, such as this, we don't see a bunch of zeros and ones, or if we run a cross tabulation, we don't see a bunch of zeros and ones and not realize what they mean. I'm going to explain how we create value labels using an example first before we proceed. Now, the example that I'm going to use is that of a liter of soda. A liter of soda is created in two steps. You have the bottle and you have the label. Now, companies will manufacture bottles and labels separately. A label has the identifying brand and other specific information about the soda on it and is then glued to a bottle, and then you have a full product. In STATA, it's very similar. First, we must create our label for our values, and then we must apply that label to a variable. So let's go ahead and start here in our do file, and we're going to invoke the label command. And what are we going to do? We're going to define a label, and now we're going to give that label a name. Let's go ahead and call it foreign underscore label, and now we need to tell STATA what each value will mean. In our case, the first value is a 0. Then we begin with a double quote, and let's go ahead and type in USA. The next value in this variable is a 1, and we want that value to be labeled foreign. Once we have that command in, if I can spell foreign, there we go. Once we have that command in, we can then begin the next command, which is to label the values. Again, we begin by telling STATA to use the label command. What do we want to label? We want to label values. What values do we want to label? Those of the variable foreign. And what label do we want to use? We want to use the label that we just created above called foreign label. Now let's go ahead and run those two lines of code. You can see here they were executed successfully. And now, if we run a codebook command of foreign, you can see that our variable label is still in place, but now, under this label portion here, zeros are labeled as being manufactured in the USA, and ones have a label of being foreign. Similarly, we can browse our data to visually inspect, and we can see this variable here, instead of being zeros and ones, now has basically a rubber stamp over the top that indicates to us whether or not the value means foreign or USA. If we click on an entry in the variable foreign, we can see here that the value still remains as a numeric value of 0, but appears in our browse window as USA. In the exact same context, foreign still has the value of 1. We haven't replaced the numeric value and can hence still use this variable in regressional analysis or cross tabulations, but it turns out very nice and very aesthetically pleasing with a label on top of it. For our last demonstration in today's module, we will learn how to recode a variable and create a new variable with value labels automatically applied all in one step. Today, let's go ahead and use the miles per gallon variable for our demonstration. So we're going to recode the miles per gallon variable. So we invoke the recode command here in our do file. What are we going to recode? Miles per gallon. And then we need to issue our first rule. The first rule, we start with a left parenthesis and say that we want to go from the minimum value of miles per gallon to 14, and we want to label that in efficient. Go ahead and end that rule. Our second rule, we will go from 15 to 30 miles per gallon, and we will set that equal to 2, and we will go ahead and label that moderately efficient and end our rule. Oh, we can see here I made a mistake. I need to come back here and put an equal sign to 1 in our inefficient rule. And then since this line is going to be fairly long, I'm going to use a command in STATA that tells STATA that this command spills over into the next line. I do that by simply using 3 forward slashes and going to the next line. This way STATA reads the line above it and the line below as a single line of code. So let's continue on with our third rule, which will be from 31 miles per gallon to the maximum value. We're going to set that equal to 3. We're also going to label it efficient, as I believe all of us would love a vehicle that got 31 miles per gallon or better. Go ahead and close our rule with a right parenthesis. And now in the options, we're going to tell STATA to create a new variable called efficiency. And we also need to tell STATA that we have made a label. We're going to go ahead and call it EFF underscore LBL, or efficiency label, as abbreviated. Now let's go ahead and run that command. You can see here that it did run successfully in STATA. And let's go ahead and take a look at that by using the list command. Let's look at the first 10 observations. And again, I'm suppressing the observation number from our table. And you can see now that we have a labeled foreign variable. So the values here are labeled, and the values here of our efficiency variable, which was just created in our recode command, was created with the value labels already in place. Let's say that we wanted to view those variables without their value labels. We could use the same list command. Let's go ahead and suppress observation numbers again and use the no labels option as well. Here we can see we have the exact same table, just in this case we have the values that were labeled over are now present. I hope today's STATA module has been helpful for you, and hope that you will come back and visit us for other successful STATA modules. You can always visit us at our website at fhssrsc.byu.edu. We'd love to see you there, and we'd love for your feedback and comments. Good luck with your STATA adventures. Bye.